Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
It is Thursday night in Phoenix, and you're listening to the Absolute Geek Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Jose.
I'm Bryan.
Yes, back by popular demand, or maybe just because last week's episode was a fucking banger, we got Bryan back.
Appreciate
Bryan.
that, guys. Yeah.
Everybody loved Bryan.
That was
Everybody
fun.
loved Bryan.
I'm glad Jose's in on this one now.
We had so many
It was close that he
Positive.
wasn't.
yeah,
With
so
my
many
stupid mic.
positive responses to you being on the show last week, and so many people saying that it was such a banger of an episode that we brought you back again.
Cool, bro. That was fun. I had a
So-
blast. I really did.
Yeah, now we got the Chonga with us and his shitty mic.
My kicking mic.
So it's the quadfecta tonight.
Yeah. It's back to the show's roots, a four-person show.
Or some.
Yeah. You fucking pervert, Jose. You-
Oh, man.
It's been a long
Yeah,
time
last
since there's been a four.
Yeah, sorry about last week. I went to California. Although,
Excuses.
No, wait. I
you
actually,
went to a quinceanera.
no, I went to...
It was a graduation, I know, but you went to a quinceanera.
Actually, Thursday
You had like 4
afternoon,
quinceaneras all in the same weekend.
Thursday afternoon, I actually got admitted to the ER because I got an allergic reaction. So, like, my whole face got puffed up.
What happened? Did you sniff your finger after you put it in your butt?
No, that was actually pretty good.
That
something-
worked out good?
He
That worked
went
out
to the
good.
store and spent too much money, so he had a allergic reaction to the bill.
No, I don't know what it is because I don't really have allergic reactions, and my
No, just
cheeks-
stroke.
No, I wish of my stroke. I'd rather have a stroke than this
There's the
stupid
clicking.
thing.
Clicking started. It is
So-
the show now.
I had an allergic reaction on my cheeks and my nose and my lips, and then I was on 24-hour observation, and my parents wanted to go to California at like in the morning on Friday, and we didn't leave till like about 1 o'clock on Friday
In the
because I
afternoon.
didn't get because I didn't get released till the afternoon.
Oh, so you should have done the show then.
Yeah,
From
and
the hospital. From the emergency room.
I couldn't even talk.
They hook you up with some major steroids, like some
Yeah, they gave
superhero
me
shit.
some prednisone, and some cocktail of what's it called?
Inflammatories.
No, that and what's it called?
Deca.
No, like
When like Z-Packs.
anti-allergy stuff.
EPO.
Oh, you
EpiPen.
had like Benadryl.
They jabbed you with an
Benadryl, but
EpiPen.
like different things of Benadryls and stuff.
You had antihistamine.
Someone
Yes,
in the
there we
chat
go.
says hentai.
Yeah.
Some hentai?
No, he was just watching on his phone while he's in the emergency room.
No, they actually prescribed me some EpiPens, so now I have a couple in my backpack.
Oh my
Just in case
God,
something
you're like an
happens.
old man.
Dude, I know. Like, you just progressively are getting worse.
Like next time we see Jose, he's gonna have a walker and shit on.
I think it's. I think,
Well, fellas, how's it going?
I think it's time to contact Jake Gyllenhaal and find out where you can get a Bubble Boy outfit.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's getting worse. So that was my excitement for last week. That's why I couldn't do shit last week.
Do you know what it was from? Like, do they have any
Nope.
ideas?
Nope, they have no idea. So I'm going to see an allergist and go from there.
Oh, another reason for Jose not to do the show on Thursdays.
There's no cure for being a cheap ass, Jose. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if only that worked.
I'm not
If I
paying
can
for
cure
it.
it.
What do you mean $5 for 2 corn dogs? And he just blows up and has a fucking allergic reaction.
Man, I'm excited about the doctor bill. I'm still paying off the doctor bill from November.
That's what you
Bro,
get
just go
insurance for.
bankrupt.
Just do what everybody else does and take those bills and just throw them in the garbage when you get them.
Just freeze them. Isn't that what it's supposed to do?
You just throw them away, be like, oops, never got this. and
What
never
Dr.
open
Bill?
it. Yeah. Never got this. You should go just start going to Canada or Mexico for treatment.
Oh, there you go.
Mexico's too far away.
Go to Canada.
Oh yeah, it's so
Mexico's too
far.
away.
It's too far away if I'm dying.
You can get there. Your mom will drive fast.
Well, with all the money between your stroke and then everything else is with you spend enough money to buy a fucking helicopter or charter a personal jet.
I'm not gonna
So-
spend $32,000 for a 3-minute ride.
There you
Fuck
go.
that.
Charter a personal jet and just fly to Canada and get yourself some health care.
Actually, they stopped talking or calling me because my insurance was like, stop fucking calling him.
Oh, that's good. You're dealing with us now. Stop
Yeah.
calling him.
You need to stop calling now.
But
Right.
anyways,
So, I want to get into some stuff here tonight. A little bit of unpacking, a little bit of therapy session with you guys, and I think with Bryan being here, this is going to be a really good conversation. We all know that Batman 50 came out yesterday, and the New York Times kind of spoiled it on Sunday.
Kind of.
everything.
Yeah, more. Well, not everything, but they spoiled a lot of it.
Enough.
Yeah, Tom King got pissed and he took to Twitter and got all mad about it, and he's saying it's not really a big deal because it's the first part in a 100-issue story. Which, if this love story really goes 100 issues, I'm probably
I'm
gonna
out.
punch myself in the face.
I'm out.
Just the way
Why the
they
fuck would
drawn
you
out
do
the last
that?
5 issues. But my big thing is with the spoilers in our community and the way it's handled. Dan Slott,
abridged.
the writer best known for Spider-Man, who's now doing Invincible Iron Man, came out and he said that in an interview he said his main concern he has about spoiler culture is that it deprives the storytellers the joy of surprising fans and preventing readers from experiencing the twists and stories in the context of the issue itself, as opposed to a recap of the story somewhere else. Storytellers want to tell the best stories possible. To do that, some of the most important tools in our toolbox are surprise reveals. If you rob us of that, you can kill the heart of a story that many people have poured months of their lives into writing, penciling, inking, coloring, lettering, and editors. For a lot of us, telling the story is more rewarding than any paycheck. It's why we do what we do. We want to be invested in a world of fantasy, to care about the characters and what happened to them as if they were real. So I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. He continues and says, it sucks for everyone. It sucks for you if someone jumps in and tells you their opinions, interpretations, summaries, snarky takes, versions of a story before you even get a chance to experience it for the first time for yourself. Isn't that what movie critics do? I'm just saying. Isn't there a whole like career built upon that with critics?
Wasn't there a TV show with 2 guys that did it?
Yeah. However, Slott also differentiates between companies choosing to spoil the events of their own stories and comic book websites and fans online doing so. He argues that publishers are doing it to get traction in the mainstream and outside of the usual people to buy the comics. They're doing it to grow the industry, bring in new readers, and make the industry stronger, so he can keep the lights on at the company and at brick-and-mortar stores. While he believes that comic book websites are also doing it simply for clicks, and fans online are doing it for attention. He notes, though, that one of the strongest aspects of this is when fans are so excited about a story that they want to tell everyone about it, even though doing so would deprive the other fans of enjoying it in some ways that originally fans wouldn't. As Slott notes, the whole thing is so damn frustrating. Okay. Like, here's where I have problems with this, okay? To me, it sounds like it's a double standard where he's saying it's okay for the industry to do it. It's okay for the company itself to do it. But fuck all those people that are like us who are sitting here podcasting, speculating on it, or speculating on what's going to happen in the story, or giving our opinions or our ideas, and fuck us if we're correct. You know, that's kind of where I'm taking it, because you and I do it all the time, Kyle, with Walking Dead. At what point can you say, oh, well, maybe it's just that your story is too fucking, you know, it's too predictable. Exactly. Your story is too predictable.
Well, that's kind of where it's come now, because, you know, more times than not, we've you know, especially with Walking Dead, we've actually projected it, you know, pretty close to what's gone on with it. I mean, maybe that is a problem. What's going on? Us as fans, and we've read and we've evolved and we've taken in so much, and there's so much online. It's for us to read and reread and interpret. I mean, maybe it is too easy for us to just predict what's going to go on.
At some point, though, like, it feels to me like Dan Slott personally, he doesn't want to take responsibility for the industry as a whole. He just likes to lash out and, like, pinpoint fans and target fans. Like, you guys ruin this, or you ruin that, or, and to me...
He ruined Spider-Man.
Yeah, this whole thing is just like...
Oh, he did more than that.
I understand
He raped it.
what the New York Times did was fucked up. And I understand DC was building towards this, or this storyline for months now, and they've drawn it out over the last couple issues, 5 or 6 issues. But honestly, after reading Batman 50, one, what they spoiled wasn't that big a deal. Honestly, like, you saw it coming. I saw it coming for months. I think if you go back to the episode, a few episodes, or well, more than a few episodes ago, when we first announced that they were going to that storyline, I said it's not going to happen. There's no way it happens.
I got a kind of similar take on it, and I agree with. I think everybody that knows comics saw that wasn't going to happen. You're right; it's getting too predictable. But here's the other thing: I totally bet that DC leaked that shit to the New York Times, because here's the thing: everybody knew they weren't going to get married. So what's more important? Drum up all this talk and get everybody hyped over comics and get it in, the New York Times and get it on, news and how it was a big deal. And then here's the other thing. They fucking fleeced so many people over these variant covers that people were so mad over it. That
I read forum after forum and post after post where people were like, man, like, people spent a lot of money on these variants, and they were everywhere, and everybody had them, and people were buying them up, and then it kind of got ruined, and people were like, well, now we're fucking fucked, and we're holding the bag now.
Yeah, what's the point of in their eyes, they're thinking, what's the point of having a cover where Batman and Catwoman are married when they're not married?
Exactly.
But Matt is right. It might not end up being that way. I mean, this is a long story and da da da.
Issues.
Yeah, my thing is that I can about 90% sure DC leaked that shit.
I think so. I mean, just look at, and it almost reminds me of the whole Cosmic Ghost Rider thing. Everybody thought it was going to be Deadpool, and what happened? So
it was supposed to be Deadpool. That's no doubt.
And what happened is when it actually came out, it wasn't.
Well, it wasn't, because everybody figured it out, and then Donny Cates is like, shit. They caught on. I need to change it.
But I think it's along the lines of that. Is everybody was figuring. Everybody had kind of figured it out already, and I think that's what it's boiling down to. Is people are pretty. When it's coming to this and the way this is, and I think a lot of this has to do with people who are flipping and selling things. A lot of it, I think, had to do with the speculative market, because so many people are researching, looking into it, so that they can invest, and they know, so that they can make their couple bucks. And I think there's so much research going on now, where a lot of times there wasn't as much research going on, where people were like, a lot of people didn't read the previews. A lot of people didn't research. Everyone just waited for the issue to come out.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it is. That's how people are figuring out, because people are really putting in and doing their homework, and they're really connecting the dots to see what they can do and see how they can.
The people that sound like they're most pissed too are the speculators, right? Because they're gonna ones taking the hit on having, 3 copies of each of the 65 variants that are out there that cost anywhere from 10 to 40, 50, 60 bucks. I mean, I'm sure there's variants still coming out that are going to be out at like San Diego Comic-Con for this issue.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. I mean, I just think that, I mean, that's because, I mean, and I think that's part of it too, is people, so that I think they leaked it, and I think it was to also, I think they also leaked it to drum up this, even bad, bad publicity is still good publicity.
Well, they did it to try, like Slott says, they're doing it to try and get people who normally wouldn't be your everyday comic book purchaser into the stores to buy it, to make you think that, oh man, this is going to be a huge issue. Batman and Catwoman are getting married.
Catman.
Like
Catman.
yeah.
Arr.
Now
Batman
that would be
See, that would be a good book.
Batman and Catwoman are getting married. This is going to be a historic book. Like this is comic history unfolding in front of us, and it's not like it's
You think they're trying to push it to like a Death of Superman kind of thing?
yeah, very much
that big.
That's very what it's being compared to is the hype around the Death of Superman, where
That's what they did with Wolverine.
They built it.
My kids are going to college on that comic.
They built it up, and then when it came out, it was such a dud that like there's still shop. You can find that book anywhere.
I don't know
book to find.
Anybody who thought Batman and Catwoman getting married was a good idea is a moron. Like it would be so much cooler if they just stayed, tryst, her showing up through his window every once in a while, or vice versa, whatever. That is Batwoman or Catwoman and Batman right there.
It's just a side thing that they're doing that's just kind of.
No, I think that they write them as they love each other, but they're not about getting married. They're not into like going on, a honeymoon together or da da da. Their thing is being Catwoman and Batman. You know what I mean? Like.
It's not like Batman Returns or that movie where they go to Paris and live happily ever after.
Exactly. Like the bottom line is that Catwoman's always going to be like a vigilante, semi superhero. Batman is who he is, and how are these people going to live a married life? That's what why are you writing this into comics?
The chat just said it's a very Mr. and Mrs. Smith type deal.
Yeah, exactly. It's silly. And I think that another problem is that you've got some of these social justice warrior writers, Bryan Michael Bendis and yada yada yada, Tom King jumping over there and being like, we're gonna make a statement. I'm tired of that. I want my old school heroes. I don't need my heroes to always be making a statement every month. I don't need that. Let's get some good stories. That's why I miss, I know it sucks that Frank Miller is getting so old and he's not writing anything anymore. And shit that or Alan Moore isn't writing books anymore. I mean, Scott Snyder kind of took on that role a little bit, but then I think Scott Snyder is just getting tired of it. But there's nobody out there that's really taking that edgy
dark.
Yes. It's all social justice warrior. We need to make a statement about, sexuality, or need to make a statement about racism, or it's like, come on, this is getting old. You're ruining comics.
I think it's because a lot of companies are scared, and I think that's what they're pushing. You need to do this. You need to do this. It just refers back. Like, I don't know if you've seen on the news or on Facebook or nothing, but just like the lady she was working at the gas station, and her kid was in the hospital, and she was like, hey, I got to take a couple of days off because my kid's in the hospital, and they were pretty much like, if you don't show up to work, you're fired. Well, the lady put it on social media. The corporate office heard it or seen it when it went viral, fired the manager and told her she could take all the time off she wants. Yeah, they should have let her take the time off. But I think companies are so scared to be
overreact.
But at that point,
I think that kind of mentality is coming down into, and I think, these up aboves at Marvel and DC are like, you need to do this, you need to do this, and you need to do this. And, writing comics is a job, and they want to keep their job. You know what I mean? Because, it's the same mentality, I'm sure, as every other job. If you're not going to do it, we'll find somebody who will.
But to counterpoint Brian's argument, it's in certain situations like that, it sets up a good thing. Bryan Michael Bendis, I've been an advocator that why are you going to take a main hero that's already been established and change his sexuality at this point in the game? Why not just make a new hero for the LGBT community to get behind? Why not just make a new hero? But in counterpoint, where Bryan Michael Bendis decided to turn Iceman gay, that actually gave an opportunity to Cena Grace to take over that book and give a fresh voice to that character and a fresh perspective on Iceman. It's one of the most popular books in Marvel right now.
I think that's a good thing, though, because you have somebody who lives that. This is going to come out. This might sound wrong.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, but you have somebody that, like Cena Grace, that lives that lifestyle,
right?
And that can speak through that character. Where a lot of these authors have no idea what they're writing. I really
Right.
don't. Like Dan Slott Spider-Man was so far from Spider-Man that
Yeah.
it ruined the character.
Oh
Dan-
man,
yeah,
it
Dan
made it
Slott-
terrible.
I'm not a fan of Dan Slott. I'm very vocal against his work on Spider-Man because that's my hero. That's my character that's been since childhood. Spider-Man's my dude, and I've been very vocal about how much I don't like Dan Slott. Now, the best thing Dan Slott did for Spider-Man was
Spider-Man
was what?
left Spider-Man.
Well, not just
Right.
leaving Spider-Man, but Superior. His Superior run was phenomenal.
You're right. I agree.
But a chunk of it was, and it was great for a while, and then it built up, and then he and then he rushed it and ended it. Like
That's his
it's-
problem, though. He starts, even with all of his crossover events, they start strong, then they putter, and then they tank towards the end. Spider-Verse, like everything he does that.
But I mean, because I remember when I first started reading Superior, I was like, "This is probably the greatest thing I've read in a long time." And I was reading it, I was like, "Great, great! Oh fuck, what's happening? Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh man!"
I got something for you. Give me one good storyline that's ended well. Can you think of a single storyline in the last 5 years that's ended well? There's been some storylines that have come out guns a-blazing, man. Dude, the Dark Metal storyline was so freaking amazing, and it took such a shit.
I never got into it. I thought it was shit from the start.
Oh, I loved it. I thought they were killing it, and then they just took such a shit with those last like couple of issues and the tie-ins. I can't think of a storyline that's ended well.
I think Batman Endgame ended pretty well.
No, the last couple of issues it petered out. Remember, it was like it was Batman's day off.
Yeah, that was cheesy.
No,
to me.
that was the end of it.
That was after it was over. That was after that storyline was over. Was Batman's day off?
But they also did the whole Commissioner Gordon in the Bat robot thing. I thought that was stupid.
That's after that storyline. Like I think the Endgame storyline was where Batman and Joker both died underground. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Batman had a contingency plan to bring himself back. And
again, that's Scott Snyder. I mean, that's the only guy I can think that's been writing good comics in the last 5 years, 10 years, maybe.
I mean, I feel like.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brian. I can't really think of a really like, hell yeah, that was nice closing to a book.
Yeah, and Matt's totally hit it on the head. Batman is the last New 52. Batman is the last book that I was like, I couldn't wait to get it every Wednesday that it came out. That was the first book I would read. I mean, I can't. There hasn't been a book like that for me since.
There's a couple Image series that have ended well.
Yeah.
Like, Huck ended well, but a lot of these you can tell that they're ending them with a contingency to continue them at some point.
Yeah, and a lot of those Image series are also they're built on the premise that they have a good ending. Like these writers go, okay, I got a killer way to end a storyline. Let's build around that.
Yeah, but like Huck wasn't like a 50-issue thing. It was just
exactly, yeah.
No,
like that whole thing was beginning, middle, end, done. Like they already, what I mean. It wasn't like a continuing thing.
Well, and I think that's what Image does. It's a contingency. It's give us a 5-issue storyline, beginning, middle, and end, and if it sells, we'll go from there. Metal or not metal. God damn it! What's the Frank Miller? Not Frank Miller. God damn it! What am I thinking of? Mark Millar and Greg Capullo. Reborn. That ended well.
I didn't read that one. That's one I didn't read. I thought it just came out so slow that maybe that killed it for me.
But then you have storylines that they want you to keep.
Yeah, but that was only 6 or 8 issues.
Yeah, but then you have things like you have stories that they want you to continue to care about that they just continue to backburner, like Doomsday Clock. Why the hell do you care about that storyline anymore?
I thought it was a cool idea, but it's coming out so slow. I think the last
way too slow.
One of now that I think about it, Dark Side Wars was really fucking good. That was a really good series. I can't remember who wrote that, but that was a really good little tie-in series. But I think whoever said Image was probably, that's the other thing. Like for having a decent amount of titles that are good and end well, Image is the only one I can think of. It's crazy. It's sad.
It is. But my problem really with what Dan Slott is saying is that He's pointing the finger at us. You're pointing the finger at your fan base. You're pointing the finger at all of us who have a podcast like this who speculate, all of us who read your books, who want to discuss it.
I don't read his books.
And then the speculation market.
Do you think he's kind of been doing some kind of form of that for a while now? That's become his shtick? Yeah,
absolutely.
it's sad.
Yeah, because he's come out a few times with like poking the bear and some zingers at everybody.
And that's kind of what made me take issue when I read that tonight. And it really got my blood boiling. And I was like, how are you going to sit here and point the finger at all of us and say, well, it's the fault of the people who read my stuff and figure out where I'm going because I'm predictable. And you can see it coming from a mile away, and then
don't be predictable.
Like, talk about it.
Exactly right.
Like,
don't be predictable.
Right in a direction that we don't. That every week we're going, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is great. I cannot, I don't know what's going to happen next. Then you know what? That should be his own personal reflection. As maybe I need to switch gears, and I need to do something different as a writer.
Like the Whisper War. The Whisper War fizzled towards the end in The Walking Dead, but at the beginning of it, as it was ramping up, we didn't know what the hell was going to happen. Month after month, we'd read that book. Whatever Negan was doing, it seemed like it kept changing. Like, Kirkman was like, okay, I'm starting to become predictable. I'm going to throw this in here. And he would have Negan do something that you never expected.
Well, that's what I think is going to happen with this when we get to this to talk about the new issue of The Walking Dead. I think we're going to throw out the predictability of it, and I think Kirkman is going to throw one of those curveballs.
And just, we unfortunately are not in a situation yet where we're turning a profit from this show. But this is also, he's got to understand, like we talked about before, we live in an age where the internet has unlimited possibilities. A lot of people are making their living talking off of stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And to basically chastise...
Not Jose, he couldn't get it to work.
To chastise someone for making their living talking about this or talking about what's out in the media or discussing this with people. It's an open conversation, and especially this community where you get together with a bunch of comic book fans and you're like, oh man, did you read this? And you start talking about it and analyzing it and giving your opinions. And be damned if your opinion is exactly what's going to happen. If you hit the nail on the head.
He should be encouraging people like us to talk about it, because it's, I'm not going to toot our own horn, but it's people like us that sit here and talk about it that make people want to go, man, I think I really need to buy those last 3 issues, and I need to see what the hell they're talking about and why they're coming to this conclusion. That sounds interesting. And I think that's what, when we did book reviews, I think that's what we did to a lot of our listeners, is we gave them an insight as to, you know what? I need to go buy that book. That's freaking cool.
Even the owner of Drona Comics told you that. I wasn't reading that book, but the way you guys are talking about it and are passionate about it, it made me check it out. It's great.
Which book?
I think it was Flash. We're like really into Flash at the beginning.
Flash, that is right now, that is my favorite. That book is beat all. That's the one I look forward to reading above all right now, especially with what happened just in the last issue. Wow. Flash versus Flash. Wow.
And I agree with you. They should be open and embracing to our community like this. And to me, it's like you're throwing shade at the community that made you. If nobody buys comics, if nobody speculates about comics, if nobody talks about comics, Dan Slott doesn't have a fucking job in comics.
I wish nobody would buy his comics.
I do too, honestly. He ruined Spider-Man for so long, and I've said it many times, and that's what pisses me off too. Is I've said it many times, is that there's so many fresh voices out there. We know one, Gregory Schoen, who's writing Ray Gun. You and I loved Ray Gun, Kyle.
That book's awesome.
Fresh voice.
Shout out.
He's a fresh voice out there trying to make it in the industry, and Marvel just keeps handing these books over to the same people that aren't doing them justice. It's nice to see Stephen Grace getting Iceman, but
back
again, yeah. But I would like to see more fresh voices in the industry that are there that just aren't getting their chance.
All right, Matt, I'll do it.
What?
I'll do it. I'll step up to the plate.
I wasn't talking about you, Kyle.
Oh,
do it, Kyle. If you want to write and you can write a good story, go for it.
Who's getting married?
Yeah, Kyle was getting married.
The Flash with the Flash
Flash versus Flash versus Flash.
getting married.
Yeah, they're gonna marry each
Ugh.
other.
I've heard a lot of people talk about this recent Flash storyline, like it's killing it. That
Yeah.
and Teen Titans are the two that people are talking about. That's just absolutely holding everything else up.
Well, they're rebooting Teen Titans, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think the whole Damian
Rebooting.
the Damian storyline is just getting better and better, and whoever's writing him now, they've kind of got an idea of his voice. You know, Damian's like he's not the Batman son that we all think of. He's as I've heard some a couple people say, he's a trained assassin. He's not the guy that's gonna not think about killing somebody. You know, he's gonna think about killing somebody, and he might do it.
He's the grandson of Ra's al Ghul. Like
that's and that's a great storyline that they should be playing on more. Like the Super Son storyline was great. Why did they change that to a kid's book? That should totally be an adult storyline, because those two people just totally play well off each other. They do that whole Mel Gibson, Danny Glover type thing. And
Well, it's like the yin and yang and the light and dark. Like it's got everything to it. That's what's so cool about it, is it's almost like having the angel and the devil on the shoulder.
yeah, and it was good. It was really freaking good. And then they killed it to put it to a kid's book. Like, what's the point of that? How many kids are really reading DC? I hate to say it, but not many. Most of it is adults.
Yeah, I was reading it.
I'm so far out of the loop on what's going on with Damian and Flash, because I stopped. I stopped pretty much looking at those books because I just lost interest in them.
See, the problem with what Flash has had is it's in the way, I think it's just the way that Williamson writes. It's like a high and low, like when he's on fire, he's fucking phenomenal, and then what he does is he dips, and then he kind of levels out for a little bit, and then he builds it back up, and then it's awesome, and then it goes back down, and then he levels back. You know what I mean? So it's like this wave is what he's doing.
And you kind of have to do that. I think that's what any good storyline does. You know, it's hard to smack you in the face with something amazing continuously. Yeah, you have to slow it down.
And I think that's what he does. So he brings it up. He's got an awesome storyline. He brings it down. He levels it out, and then he builds it back up. And you know what? And I think that's actually what's kept me to Flash. Since Rebirth. I mean, what are we?
Flash started strong, and then in the middle, when they were switching artists and writers constantly, it hit a lull point, and then
I think hasn't Williamson been the writer since day one?
It was flat. Well, I'm talking about like the one-off issues and stuff that they've done in 3 story arcs, but like until the Flash War, Flash was at a lull. Like you were even saying that. You were like, I don't know, Flash has been meh, I'm just keeping reading because I'm invested. And then once they launched this Flash War storyline, that's when you were like, oh man, this has been amazing.
It's been really good since...
Godspeed was the saving grace to that book. The fact that they launched it with Godspeed and everybody loved it, and then when they got rid of him, and then they started this whole, like, dude, it goes back to, how many times are you going to bring Thawne back to life? How many times is Eobard Thawne going to come back to life? They've already killed him twice in the book now.
He's back right now from a separate dimension.
They need to quit killing him, because he's a great evil character. He's a great Joker for Flash.
Yes.
Why kill him? Why take away that great story line?
So it's shocking.
It's not shocking anymore, though. Just like Matt said,
right,
how many times can you kill him?
Well, you remember in that one span, Matt, when Flash was going on? This was probably like what issue, like probably in the 20s. Remember, it was like 4 issues in a row. They killed him like 4 times.
Yeah,
like it was like in like 4 or 5 issues, they killed him a bunch of times. It was right around.
You watched him get evaporated by Dr. Manhattan. Or well, he got can't remember if it was Manhattan, but he got evaporated at the beginning of the Button story arc.
Yep.
And then he got killed before that, and then he gets evaporated then, And it's like, how many times are you gonna bring him back and kill him? And it's like Bryan said, he's a fantastic villain. I don't know why you keep killing him.
And he's
Just to
back.
bring him back again?
He's back right now.
Like, you got to kill him off to figure out a way to bring him back again? Like, it sounds like stupid writing to me. But who am I? I'm just some shitty dude on the internet voicing his opinions.
Yeah, Dan Slott.
I'm just spoiling it for the world, I guess.
Just wait till Bryan Michael Bendis teams up on you. Him and Dan Slott are gonna do time.
I've never had a problem with Bendis is one of my favorite writers. Like,
yeah, but he's turned into the same thing that, in my opinion, that Dan Slott's turned into. He's like the social justice warrior that thinks that. I'm not saying that his voice doesn't mean something or count, but I just get tired of the social justice crap. I understand it every once in a while. It's needed when it's needed, but they're ruining the importance of a good, reason to come out in that type of role, because they're always in that type of role.
I'm hearing the difference I'm hearing that his run right now in Superman is saving that book.
I don't know. That whole new character was cheesy as hell to me.
I heard that he's doing some crazy things with Superman right now that is saving that book. So I don't know. It's so it's so hard. This is such a hard industry to gauge sometimes, but to even have a voice in, because where does your voice fall? How much of it
on
is
Twitter?
How much? Well, apparently, how much of it is though the company pushing them to kind of say this?
That's what I agree. You're probably right. That's why what happened? Didn't something happen just recently where they had to kick out a editor, one of their main editors, for some social justice warrior bullshit?
There was a thing in X-Men Gold, Jose, or Blue, that slipped through like earlier last year.
Oh, because he had he was drawing something in the background, and for some reason it means something. I don't know what it means.
Yeah, it was some Islamic phrase, but
yeah,
I don't think that was it. I think it was, what's his name, went and acted like he was a 13-year-old Japanese girl on Twitter to pull some social justice move, and they caught on. Who was that guy? That's the guy that kicked out.
I have no idea about that.
Yeah, it was the last DC editor, and they had to kick him out because they found out that he was acting. He went and paraded around as some 13-year-old Japanese girl to try and have a social justice voice, and it got caught. And that's the funny thing to me, is that type of shit keeps happening.
I'm glad Dan Slott is off Spider-Man.
That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to help sponsor his retirement party.
My problem is just that why do you have to point the finger? Why does it matter? Like, all you had to say was, yeah, people who spoil stuff, it's shitty, but it's a shitty world we live in, but we live in the internet age. Dude, if you're going to see Ant-Man and the Wasp tonight, congratulations. The mid-credit scene is already online. I could spoil it for you right now. I'm choosing not to, because I'm not a piece of shit like that. This is a show where we rarely ever spoil anything for you, and if we're going to, we give you ample amount of time. Yeah, we'll tell you, hey, spoiler alert. When I was doing movie reviews, I gave you my opinion in the movie with or without spoilers, and then if I was going to spoil it, I gave you ample warning saying, hey, this is where I'm going to spoil it. If you haven't seen it, shut it off now. Here we go. I'm not going to sit here and just leak out spoilers for you. And that's the New York Times did it, but like Bryan said, who knows how much of DC was behind that? We're never going to find out.
I think they're a lot behind it. I think
someone wants to break it down and be like, oh yeah, we got this, and this, and show emails from heads of DC saying, listen, put this out, leak it. I don't think, 'cause that hurts their sales. So why would you want that out there, that you've been building the story arc, and then the fucking 4 days before the book comes out, you fucking ruin it?
I mean, do you think it really hurts sales that much?
So speaking of spoilers,
probably not.
Speaking of spoilers, what do you guys think of the Walking Dead TV show?
What TV show? Just playing. They said today that I read it online today that Andrew Lincoln's already back in England. His part of whatever he did in The Walking Dead is already filmed. So that means So now they're actually speculating it all the way back to 5 issues because I think,
I have
episodes.
a theory on that too.
What's that?
My theory is that we're reading too much into it.
What do you
Here's the
mean?
thing. The 4th of July is a huge holiday here in the States. I understand they don't celebrate in England, but it's a huge holiday here in the States, okay? They're getting ready. We are right around the corner from the biggest time in our culture, our community. Like, we're about to go into overdrive here. Because,
Are you saying Andrew Lincoln left because he's jealous that we beat Britain on
Yep,
July 4th?
that's exactly what I'm saying. You got it.
And
He is jealous that we won our independence from Britain. That's exactly what it is. So he left.
he was a little bitch and he got on a plane and flew back to England.
No. So
Well,
what I'm
I'm
saying
gonna go
is
back to driving on the left side of the road. Fuck these people.
we're
Actually,
weeks
driving on the right,
away.
though, I think.
We're weeks away from San Diego Comic-Con. It's the biggest time in our industry. Like, we'll be it feeds us for the next year. We'll be popping off with information for weeks to come after this on podcast. But I think it's, they're doing episodes. He probably wasn't on the call sheet. July 4th, they were probably going to take it off anyway. So he left and came home for a couple weeks to relax.
So he flew across the big pond just to take a couple days off.
Well, a couple weeks off before San Diego Comic-Con, when he's going to come back and start doing the press for Comic-Con. And I wouldn't be surprised if you hear that he comes back and he's seen on set here in the next couple weeks.
It would have been really cool if he would have went to Boston and threw him tea in the harbor.
Oh my God.
Dude, he's going to get totally murdered at San Diego with questions about him bailing. I mean, why?
Imagine if he didn't show up.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, fuck that.
Fuck you and your American fireworks.
He did have kind of a cool request, though. Did you see that in that article?
Cue request.
Yeah, cute request.
That you guys fucking start driving on the left side of the road.
Yeah. He said that during an interview in 2014 that he texted Scott Gimple and said, "Promise me when I die on the credit sequence you play Johnny Cash's version of The Hurt." And Scott Gimple was like, I can't guarantee you that. So he wants it whatever happens to him in the show on his final episode, he wants all the fans to play Johnny Cash's The Hurt during the end credits.
Won't do it. I refuse.
I'll do it.
Nope,
Fuck
I refuse. Fuck it. Pass.
They'll get that. They'll be able to play that. They have to. That's a freaking cool. That's really cool. There's no way they wouldn't be able to pony up the money for like 20 seconds of that song.
I don't know. Did you see the CGI to Shiva?
I'm not mad at him. He's been Rick Grimes for 9 years now, dude. And he's got young kids, and they're growing up, and that's 9 years of their life he's missed between going back and forth. Like,
that's part of the job, yo. You know
but-
what? I work a lot of hours too, and I've missed a couple things too. So it's just the way it goes.
But
That's what happens when you put dinner
You're not
on.
missing months and months of events because you're off shooting a TV show.
That's what you sign on when you do an American TV show and you're fucking a Brit.
Yeah, well,
You know what he should have did? He should have moved here.
I'm not
Him and
mad
his
at
family.
him for leaving
I am.
the show.
I'm pissed. If I see him, I'm gonna trip him and throw water balloons at him.
You're showing him, Kyle.
And if he talks with an accent, I'm gonna say, "Speak like Rick, fucker."
I think it gives the show a new dynamic. Like,
Yeah, dynamic of it sucking.
I don't think he's gonna die though, and I'll stand on that hill until
He's
I
gonna
watch
die.
the episode. I don't think so.
He's gonna die.
I think
he's gonna get on that helicopter and fucking fly away.
That's what I think he's gonna do too.
It's gonna come and it's gonna land and it's gonna be like, he's gonna get on it and say, "See you later, fuckers." He's just gonna fly off. I'm going back to England.
Mark my words. Mark my words right now. July 5th.
Don't piss off Dan Slott and
8/19
start speculating.
Oh, I know. July 5th, 8:19 p.m., episode 158. I'm saying it right here. Rick Grimes doesn't die when he leaves the show. He leaves, and then they Eric Foreman the shit out of that. When that show is coming back, and for the final season, the final episode,
He's gonna come back from
Lincoln,
Africa.
Andy Lincoln's gonna come back for a couple episodes. I'm telling you.
I think they're gonna do like the ending to Hulk, the show.
There's no
They're gonna play
way.
the music and he's gonna be walking the street trying to hitchhike.
There's no way Robert Kirkman lets them kill off Rick Grimes in the TV show before.
What
he
I've
gets to
read
be a
is
comic
it
book.
was part Robert Kirkman that initiated this, that helped it along.
I'm telling you, there's absolutely no way Robert Kirkman lets him kill off the Rick Grimes in the TV show before he does it in the comic book.
I bet you they rip his fucking head off. They
But at
shit
least-
down his throat.
Hey, at least we don't have to go much further into the Rick Schoen relationship. Like, that's a relationship I'm sick of seeing.
You know what they should do is they should bring back everybody that's died.
Because the Rick Schoen, it has nothing to do with the
Like
interracial
Lost?
relationship.
Shane, Laurie, everybody comes.
It has to do with the fact that that relationship has ruined Michonne's character. The Rick Schoen relationship has ruined the Michonne character. She
Whatever
has
happened to
ruined-
Judith?
Ruined it from what was that, Jose?
Whatever happened to Judith?
I'm gonna go see Ant-Man.
What'd you say, Jose?
Whatever happened to Judith?
She's still alive,
They sold her for a bag of rice.
and I think that's why they killed off Carl. Killing off Carl in the show works because they still have Judith. They still have that hope, that bright spot for the future. Judith, I think, is going to move in and take over more of the Carl-esque role, and they're kind of. I think
Wouldn't it be
with the
cool if she
time
lost
jump-
her eye too?
With the time jump, you're going to see her
The other eye.
older. With the time jump, you're going to see her older, and she's going to kind of fit into that age range where Carl is in the comic book because he was growing up too fast in the show. I think that's one of the reasons they decided to kill him off. So it makes sense to me.
I hope she
But-
carries two swords.
It's just I don't think that it's gonna. I don't know. I just don't think they're gonna kill him off, or there's no way that. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
I hope they make it like I hope 3 of his 5 episodes is him laying there dying.
Well, you really think that they're gonna let? You really think that Robert Kirkman is gonna let them kill off Carl and Rick Grimes before he gets to do it in the comic book?
Uh-huh.
I don't think
I
so.
sure do. Why not?
Because that would kill the comic sales, I think.
No, most people that we're 180
Tell me,
issues in.
please tell me, and I want all of your guys' opinion. Glenn's death. Does Glenn's death have the same impact in the comic or on you if you saw it on the show and then read it in the comic?
What do you mean?
Glenn's death. It does. Everyone was crazy about Glenn's death they went crazy after Negan kills Glenn in the comic, right? If you saw that happen in the show and then in the comic, it loses its thunder, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I would think you only get the thunder if you didn't know he was going to die. For the people who did know who was going to die, then the thunder's not there.
Well, was the
That
what?
makes
Here we can prove this right now. Was the thunder there for you guys that watched the TV show when you knew he already died in the comic?
No,
It
I was
was
expecting
for
him to
me
die.
because even though I expected it, I wanted to see how they were going to handle it on the TV show.
And Big Red, he took the thunder away
Yeah,
because you
and I
expected
agree.
just one person.
I completely agree with you there. Him killing Abraham first took that, or him killing Abraham also at the same time took the thunder away.
Yep.
Like if it was just Glenn, it's emotional, it's raw, it's rough because you loved Glenn. And where they fucked that up too is when they tried to play that whole is Glenn dead like before that.
Oh, like when he rolled into the
Yeah.
garbage can
They fucked
Yeah.
that up.
like a dick.
So it's like they fucked that up there. And then
I just think if they kill him in the show and then they wait another 19 issues and they kill him then, that it's just not going to have the same impact that it would have. Because, like they killed Lori early, but they waited a long time to kill her in the comic. And it was it was real impactful then.
I didn't think so. I thought her death was very underwhelming in the comic book.
Really? I thought it was impactful because it was, I thought it was, and they gave it its due and they centered her around it and everybody kind of came in and said their piece. And it was kind of like everybody got their piece out on her and they got to say what they really needed to say and get out what they would say and say that, the things you can't actually say to somebody because they've died. They actually got to say that to her prior to it, and I thought that actually was kind of a cool thing.
I felt like it was very washed over. Like that was a cool part that they all got to say their piece, but since then I feel like it's very washed over. Like, yeah, you've seen Rick like go through the morning and kind of laying on her grave and crying, but Other than that, they really haven't dealt with it. It's been like business as usual. Now, granted, a lot of that is because they took a lot of time away for a focus off of Rick, with them going to the Commonwealth and now coming back, and the focus is kind of back on Rick. But it just doesn't seem like it's very effective. Like Carl's going about his business at the Hilltop, and it just doesn't seem like it's really affected anybody. It's been like business, like, oh, it sucks, but now it's business as usual. But I guess that's the feeling you're gonna get in this type of world, is that people are gonna die, and you just kind of gotta accept it and move the fuck on
quickly.
But I think Rick Grimes is your main character, man. This has been Rick Grimes' story for 180 some issues now. It's been Rick Grimes' story since episode 1 of season 1, and you can't. I just think there's no way. Kirkman is kind of cocky, he's kind of arrogant, and I don't think there's any way he lets someone take that thunder from him. Like, I really don't.
Well, they're about to. I don't think he's going to walk off into the sunset on a horse with no name.
With the way they set up last season, with Daryl and Maggie and Jesus all like conspiring against him, I think they exile him and he leaves. You
mean they're going to pull what he did to Carol?
Exactly.
They're going to give him a backpack and a car and say, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yep, they're going to exile him.
I think it's Rick Grimes. If he's leaving the show, it has to be a production. It has to be something big. It can't just be, "Here's a backpack. See you later. You got to go. We don't agree with you." It's got to be big, and it's got to have fireworks behind it.
What do you do with Judith then?
That's a good question.
I think they keep her.
We went to Michonne.
Because they're not going to send them off together. They're going to keep her, and I think she's just it's going to be kind of how it is now. She's not in it a lot. It's clippets.
Unfortunately, if they do that, I think the only way they could do that is by killing off Rick. They can't just let Rick walk away and leave his daughter there.
And I think they've known for years. I don't think it's been a secret in the Walking Dead production that Andrew Lincoln was going to leave. If you look at the way the show's going, it's like gears, man. Gears in the engine or gears in the transmission. He was going. His whole focus at the very beginning when he woke up to the hospital was to find his wife and kid. Found them. Okay, going from there. Then his wife.
That's when they should have ended the show.
Then his wife dies. Okay, so then he's still got his son he's living for and his daughter. His daughter, who could be someone else's daughter too. And then now his son's dead. He's only got his daughter left, but then there's that uncertainty there that she's not his. So he's really got nothing left to live for in the show. Really.
Oh, man.
I personally don't think they killed him off.
They fucked up so bad by killing off Carl. They really did. Oh,
I don't think
they really shot themselves in the foot.
I don't think Kirkman lets them take that thunder. They've
done that a lot.
The death of Rick Grimes is something that Kirkman has said from the beginning that's going to happen. You're going to see it play out in the comic books. I don't think they let the show take that away from him.
You're just going to see it in the show first.
I don't think he lets the show take it away from him. If the show does it first, then I expect him to top the shit out of it. Like it's completely different in the comic book.
He's come out and said that he's had the ending for that for that storyline the whole time, and he's just waiting for it, right? I mean, I remember him saying something about that the whole plan is to have an ending with Rick, and he knows that ending. He's just got to wait. Wait until he's ready to do it.
But my whole thing is I've said, and Kyle, I don't know if Kyle still agrees with me or disagrees with me with what. My whole thing is I've said from the beginning, issue 200 is when we see the death of Rick Grimes.
I think that I could agree with that. I got one for you. Can anybody other than Robert Kirkman write Walking Dead?
No, absolutely not.
No, I just don't think it'll have the same, because the way he builds up and the way he misdirects and the way he can bring you in and out of it, I don't think another writer would be able to do The Walking Dead enough justice to make it keep going.
Here's the thing. If that's true, man, Image is going to be fucked because that's their only book that sells worth of shit. I think that's the reason why it's still going on as long as it has. Because they went to Kirkman and went, listen, we'll make you CEO if you just continue writing the book. We need the sales.
You think so, huh?
Look at what they. I don't think they have anything that even touches what Walking Dead does.
I agree. I honestly have to completely agree with you. He's a powerhouse. Look
Yeah.
at him. He sold Walking Dead to AMC. He sold Outcast to Showtime, even though we still haven't gotten a second season of that yet. That's
No,
already
it's
showed
out.
overseas, but it hasn't come out here yet.
It's good.
He sold Outcast to Showtime. He went and made a huge deal with Amazon, and now he's bringing Invincible as an adult animated cartoon to Amazon. Plus, you're going to see a bunch of his other Skybound properties on Amazon. It's I think. Well, the only book I know that comes close to Walking Dead sales at Image is Saga.
Yeah, but I don't think it's anywhere near Walking Dead.
I don't think so. And Walking Dead is definitely the number one book. But
yeah, I think Walking Dead was like the number one book of all books for like
a while.
Yeah, years.
It just and people are like, "Oh man, Walking Dead." Like you get into it. Like Walking Dead, you start caring about these characters, and then when they die, you're like, "Oh man, that sucks." And like Jose said, when Glenn died in the comic book, I was like, "What?" I went crazy. I started texting people. I was like, "Dude, did you see this? You got to read this Walking Dead." Blah blah blah.
Nerd rage.
Yeah, pretty much. In the show, it was built up because you were like for me, the best example, Gwen Stacy's death. Being a huge Spider-Man fan, I've always wanted to see her death play out on the big screen, and I got that in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, it wasn't exactly the same way, but it was satisfying to see it. Even though I knew it was going to happen, it was satisfying seeing it play out on the big screen.
I think the only time I got a tear from a comic book was when I actually read when Gwen Stacy died in the book.
Yeah, but like if you see it, what are people going to say though? If you see it play out on a TV show and then they're just copying the show when it happens in the book, like it's like man, like that's a piece that all connects together. Like that's a piece of your remembrance and history and your joy in that book. Because when you see her die in a book, you're like, man, that's crazy. Like it hits you hard. And then when you see it play out on the big screen, it's a little bit of satisfaction. That like, man, it kind of brings you back to reading it, remembering it and reading it that first time.
Yeah.
And I don't think, and that's kind of like Walking Dead. You get invested in these characters, and then when something dies, you're like, oh man, that sucks. And then when the TV show it happens, you're ready for it. You're like, that was the same thing with Glenn.
You're expecting it.
This, right? I'm expecting this. I'm ready to see it play out on TV and have a narrative and a voice put to it, other than what's in my head. And then they steal the thunder by throwing somebody else in there with them.
They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that, and the fake death before it.
Yeah.
That really ruined it.
It was lame.
Like Preacher. Preacher is another good show at AMC, and it's been very different. Like I hated the first season of Preacher, loved the second season, and I've yet to watch the third that just started. But like, there's so many comic book shows out there now that are, I don't know. But Walking Dead, I stand on it. I don't think they kill Rick Grimes. I'm just saying.
I just don't see him like walking off into the sunset, though. I don't see him driving off in exile. Them just saying bye bye.
Well, okay, so I don't think they kill him. You think they kill him, Kyle?
I think they kill him.
Jose, where do you stand?
Yeah. What with Rick dying or not?
Yeah.
I think.
Come on, fucker.
The show's gonna be shitty. Like if they like cast away or make them leave for a little bit, like with what's her name, Carol, and then she comes back and he shows up and I don't know, like.
I like this guy's opinion in the chat. Gets on a horse, 2 middle fingers, and rides off the bridge.
That sounds even better. He's going home with 2 bags of money.
There you go.
I agree with Matt. I don't think they can sell him. Or I would kill him.
You don't think so?
No.
I just think it has to, if it's the ex of Rick
He's the main
Grimes,
showrunner.
Can you like imagine the outcry and the pissed offness of the internet and of the court of people's opinion if they just let him just tootle on off, even on a horse, giving you 2 middle fingers? I mean,
Kyle, I got one for you right now. They already did it. Heath. He disappeared, and you've heard nothing from him again.
Yeah, but he's not Rick Grimes. He's Heath. Which
Right,
he's a
exactly.
big player in the comic, but he wasn't. They never wrote him as a huge part of the show, so most people didn't even notice he disappeared. We didn't even notice he disappeared for episodes until one day we were like, "Hey, where the fuck is that guy at?"
I'm just saying, I don't think it's below them to just cast him off.
I think it would be shitty if they just stopped talking about him like he was never there. Can you imagine that? Where's Rick? Who the fuck is Rick?
Who?
Rick Grimes.
Who?
I didn't know Rick Grimes.
You just can't have Rick Grimes meet a. I'm just on that hill that Rick Grimes, he's been the main guy since the minute, and I know I've said before, what if Rick Grimes is becoming the villain of his own story, and I still stand behind that. It almost feels like that's how it's playing out.
I think he's going to take Daryl's. I think he's going to take Daryl's jacket and motorcycle. He's going to take Negan. He's going to take Lucille, and he's going to ride off.
I think, like I said, I think he's becoming. You're starting to see him in the comics become the villain of his own story, and I think they're going to kill him at issue 200. But I think he's got to go out in a huge way. You can't send him out in a whimper with a zombie bite. Like, it's not like he can get. If they were going to send him out in the show, the best way. If you wanted to end the show and you knew he was leaving it, the best way to do it was at the end of season 8 when they ended it with Rick, the shot of Rick and young Carl on the farm again. That was it. It felt like at the end of the series. You should have ended it there.
And then they just never talked about him again.
What do you have to do? You just beat your biggest. You just finished off a war, a quote unquote war. You just beat your biggest enemy.
It's more like
the person who posed the most threat to you. Your trees are aligned. End it. It should have ended there. You didn't need the whole Rick and the whole we're against Rick Grimes with Maggie and Glenn, or not Glenn, but Maggie and Daryl and
Jesus.
You didn't need that. You ended it with the shot of Rick and Carl on the farm walking up the road holding hands. It's over.
Well, they didn't. So, but I don't think
missed opportunities.
Well, yeah, swing and a miss, and I don't know. I just don't think I don't think he can go out with a whimper. It has to be something. It has to be something big. Like, hey, I'm gonna go. Hey, there's a town, 15 miles away. I'm gonna go check it out, and he just never comes back.
Oh my God!
I thought it should have ended.
I said, how many episodes ago did I say that, Matt?
Right?
Yeah,
that it should be the end.
Episodes ago. Yeah.
That's what they should do. He's fucking hitchhiking. The piano music's playing, and he's walking down the road.
Goodbye, Rick.
I'm sure people are
Goodbye,
sick
Carl.
of hearing us talk Walking Dead. We got our stances. I say he lives. Kyle says he dies. Jose says he dies, and Bryan says he lives. So,
but what do you think? What do you think happens, Bryan? What do you think what they need to do?
I don't know, but I just don't think they can kill him like Matt said. I don't think you can. It's got to be some part of some kind of storyline. I think he went to the writers and said, listen, I got to go, or you got to give me a break. And they went, okay, we'll give you a break. We'll figure out a way to write you out of the storyline for a while, and it'll be part of the storyline, and yada, 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 yada.
You're going to go live with the garbage
back
people.
Into a coma. He's going to fall back in a coma.
The garbage people are all dead.
Well, the one girl isn't she?
No, she's not, but they're going to go. He's going to go cheat on her. He's going to go cheat on Michonne.
With her and her art.
Jeez. I don't know. But switching gears, as long as we got Bryan here, I want a little bit of we're gonna do a little speculation here.
Ooh, fancy. Ooh, I'm excited. It made me all tingly.
So, the next big Spider-Man event is Edge of Spider-Geddon. And it was just announced today. She's making that Marvel money now. You're goddamn right she is. Edge of Spider-Geddon. And it was just announced today that Edge of Spider-Geddon is going to debut 2 new Spider-Men. Uncle Ben and Norman Osborn.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Edge of Spider-Geddon 3 is adding a unique twist to the story where Peter successfully saves Uncle Ben's life with a blood transfusion, turning him into a spider hero. And then September's Edge of Spider-Geddon 4
So
will
he's
introduce...
going to dig him up?
Well, no. So when he gets shot, he basically offers up his own blood to do a blood transfusion for him. And in doing so, he is going to get spider powers.
Like
And then-
Captain America.
And then Edge of Spider-Geddon 4 is going to introduce Norman Osborn, where he gets bitten by a radioactive spider sometime after Peter, and Peter influences him to do good in the world as Spider-Man.
Is Dan Slott writing that?
No, he's not.
Recycling
So-
old stories.
I think they're both
Speculation.
garbage. And I think that if you want to spec on something Spider-Geddon or Spider-Verse, you spec on what we talked about last show, and that's that, first Spider-Gwen. But you also spec on the fact that they're talking about doing, with Kevin Feige saying that, Marvel's going to be half female characters. You start specking on Silk. You start specking on Kamala Khan a little bit. And there's a book out there. I'll let you do the searching, all you people who want to go, spec on
More
it.
view.
There's a book out there where they all three appear in the same book. They all three appear on the same cover. And it's something my compadre over at CBSI and Kyle knows him too. Good old Mel V brought up on a recent episode. And I think it's a flip side. It's something that's a very, very good book to check out. But I think if Matt's wanting an answer, I wouldn't spec on either one of those guys. I would stick with the female characters for now. Or I like a character that hasn't been specced on very much, and that's that punk Spider-Man. I think that's a cool character that they can play out if they write it correctly. I think they're getting a little too ridiculous with some of this mashing up of characters stuff. It's getting old.
Yep.
Yeah. So spec-wise, what did you think of the new Nightwing jumping up to being a $20 book the day it came out?
I think that was talked about the day that cover was shown. I actually picked up I was lucky enough to pick up a 9.8 copy of that book, CGC graded for like $50. We were talking about it, and all of a sudden it was like, damn, that book is gonna skyrocket. So I didn't
end up getting one from the comic store. I ended up getting a couple off of eBay.
And that's the shitty thing like we talked about last week, though, is it has nothing to do with the interior. It's just because it's a cool fucking cover.
I think it's about 60-40, Matt. I think that most spec is derived on cool art. I think that's been how it's been for a long time now. But when that interior, when that storyline hits, it turns it into a monster. I think that over the last 2 years, I've been really big about finding spec hidden in old books. It's too hard for me right now to play that Wednesday Warrior game. I think there's some really good, deep, hidden spec out there. A year ago, I would have said, quit being an idiot if you would have jumped on this female hero bandwagon, but it's become so strong that and the way they're playing it, I mean, they really want to up this female hero thing with the positive, with all the money that Wonder Woman made and all the money that looks like Miss Marvel's going to make. Man, there's some really good characters like Miss Sinister. I think that's like X-Men Legacy 214, I want to say. They introduced a Miss Sinister, and I could totally see them bringing in Jessica Chastain as Miss Sinister before they bring in a Mr. Sinister. You know what I mean? So I think that this whole mishmash of characters is hurting the spec game a little bit. I mean, it's kind of funny because a lot of these books instantly become selling for 3 times what their value is right off the bat. Like that Venom #3 with that Venom God. That book was selling for what, like $15-20 right off the bat, and that's a terrible character. So, I mean, if you want to make some money, go figure out like the couple of spec books that are out every week. It's very easy to do. Very easy to do. Go follow an Instagram group. Go follow a G Plus group. Go to CBSI, and take a couple look at what books they're hyping for the next, books that are coming out the next week. grab a couple of them, throw them right up on eBay for double or triple your money, and don't get too crazy. Just grab a couple that you think are. It's kind of like playing the ponies. You can only play so many before you start taking hits.
You know how I do it is I actually go and I look at the top 10 and I go through and I go, okay, I'll read that one and that one and that one. So those are the ones that I'll buy. So then it's not a huge loss to me, because like if it doesn't pan out, because it's something that it kind of interests me anyway to read. So it's kind of a win-win. If I don't end up reading it and I sell it and I make, $5 off of it, cool, or $10. But if it doesn't pan out, then I still have something that interests me and I have good reading material.
Well, that's why I didn't buy it. I had the book in my hand. I had the Nightwing cover in my hand Wednesday morning. I sent you a picture of it. I asked you what's the deal with this book, because people were calling on it while I was standing there, and you were like, oh, it's just the cover. And I was like, I'm not going to spend $5 to potentially make $5 back.
Well, here's the crazy thing. That whole thing where it's just the cover, look at that Middleton book, that Batgirl 23, Josh Middleton cover. That thing is a $200 9.8 right now. It's a $50 raw.
And the book after it's super hot too.
Yeah. So
it's selling for good too.
People love cover art. I mean,
especially Joshua Milton. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's really good, and he's got some hidden gems out there. So,
yep.
I don't know. I really like to play. I like to play the old school stuff. I think that there's some really good spec in new stuff. I think it's hard to play the long hold in that stuff. But I'll tell you a book that I'm playing long hold spec right now, and I'm kind of giving away a little secret here. And I'm sure some of the flip side guys, if they hear this, they'll hate me for it. But I picked up 20 copies of. Well, I ordered 20 copies off of. It's either Midtown or DCB Service. I can't remember. But that Skyward book, Jock is doing a second print cover. It's short. It's going to be short printed. They're probably only going to do like 15,000 copies or so. And it is a killer story. I got number 1 when it came out. I read it. It's a really good story. It's about it's a story like it's almost kind of like. Have you guys seen what's that movie that came out that Spielberg did just recently, where it's like the internet?
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. There you go. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
That movie is kick-ass, and it's got that kind of feel to it. And basically, what it's about is a girl that grows up at a time where gravity kind of gets more and more, so where you're not, the weight isn't as much, so you can kind of almost fly. And she grows up in a world where gravity isn't there, but her dad is, still old school and believes in gravity. He's scared about it. And it's about this girl trying to, learn the world and growing up in a world where there's no gravity. And man, if that doesn't sound like a killer movie idea, I don't know what is. And it just got optioned by the guy who brought Lucifer to the screen. So
I'll give you one. I don't know if I talked about it on a couple episodes ago. I don't know if you heard it right after Phoenix Comic Fest. Like we were talking before, that Capullo and Mark Millar book, that's getting optioned into a show at Netflix.
Wow. That's a great story too.
Nobody heard about it. And Galapian, Jonathan Galapian's wife, spilled the beans to me in line as he was signing my copy of it. She was like, "Oh, did you like this book?" I was like, "Yeah, I fucking loved it." And she's like, "Oh, that's awesome." She's like, "It just got optioned to be for Netflix."
Wow.
So, there you go.
That's huge, bro. That's a big spec right there, man.
And there's that new Jeff Lemire book that just got optioned for a show as well, too.
Yeah, Gideon Falls. Right?
Yeah. And that got optioned, after issue 1?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these books get optioned before the book even comes out. I mean, there's some...
But, like, Witches got optioned and then it just nothing.
Well, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I know Brad Pitt was the one that bought the rights to it, and I'm sure he was going through some pretty crazy hell right after he bought the rights to it. So maybe it's just kind of chilling on the back burner type thing.
Well, not and just because someone buys it to option it, it all depends on, the script and if a studio is going to buy it and, what you got to do to get it out there.
So Reborn really knocked the socks off of people when first, couple issues. So I could see that doing really well.
It was a pretty good story.
There's a lot of really good books like that get optioned. Another one that was one of my favorite books when it was out was Birthright.
That was really good for a while. Like I read it for probably a while, and it kind of just petered out for me. Like it had a real strong start to it.
Genius story, man. That was one of the best stories and most off the wall ideas that it's one of those ideas where you go, why hasn't someone else thought of this? You know what I mean? And that got optioned. So I don't know, when it's coming. I think that there's a big book that's coming down the pipe that a lot of people know about, that's been optioned, that they're filming, as far as I know right now. That's I've been sitting on for a while. It's been on my, I've been picking up sets whenever I see it. I probably have 4 or 5 sets now. And that's that Gerard Way. What was that Gerard Way series? The guy from My Chemical Romance. I'm spacing on the name.
I know what you're talking about.
He did a Spider-Verse book or
he did one of the Spider-Verse books too, but he's got an ongoing series too.
Umbrella Academy.
Yes, thank you. There it is.
That is a great comic to be put on the small screen. And if that goes to Netflix, I think it's going to Netflix, right? Is it Netflix that's taking that?
I'm not.
They take everything.
Yeah, I think it is Netflix. Yeah, it's Netflix. It's going to be live action, which makes it. I mean, that could blow up, unreal. And it's just a great, cool story. It's got a great backstory. The guy being the lead singer of a badass band, and he was a comic. He was he always wanted to be a comic artist or a comic writer, and he tried to do that before 9/11, and it was like after 9/11 where he kind of went, no, screw it, I'm just going to be in a band. And he kind of had these stories on the back burner, and he ended up writing the stories, and they were really good. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really good deep spec in books like Reborn and books like that.
Optioning, essentially all you're doing when you buy the rights, and optioning is it's just saying you own the rights to do whatever you want with that at whatever time. So it could be 10, 15, 20 years before we see a Witches movie. We could never see it. Look at how long it took to make a Deadpool movie.
That was a good story. I hope it comes to light.
So
or dark.
Who knows? They're just now about to make they announced at Anime Expo today that they're gonna make a Gundam Wing movie finally. So if you're a Gundam Wing fan, they're making a Gundam Wing movie. So
I had something blow me away the other day. It was like the 30th anniversary of Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
That blew me away. I couldn't believe that. And that's one of those movies that just beyond iconic. I'm really surprised they never did a live action American version of that. Maybe it's just too hard, and it's one of those animes that you just like. You're not going to do anything justice by not having an anime. But why was there never a series based on that?
Yeah. But hopefully everyone at Anime Expo this weekend stays safe and nothing pops off, because there's been some rumors thrown out there that some shit might pop off at Anime Expo this weekend. Hopefully it doesn't happen. And
hopefully they show another trailer to the Bleach movie.
That they might.
The live action Bleach movie. Oh my god, I want to see it so bad.
I guess some kid who looks like Billy Joe Corgan, or not Billy Joe Corgan, but Billy Joe, the fucking lead singer of Green Day.
Green Day.
Billy Joe Armstrong. Some kid who looks like Billy Joe Armstrong is going out making threats that he was going to shoot up Anime Expo this weekend. So, hopefully,
where's Anime Expo?
L.A.
What an idiot.
So hopefully, apparently he's already been banned, but I guess a predominant anime YouTuber came out and said that he was at another YouTube event standing outside making tortillas. So, and
he's
they
Mexican?
ran into each other.
The
guy who threatened to shoot it up. So, I guess they're saying if you see him, talk to the police. So hopefully nothing pops off and everyone stays.
That guy right there making tortillas
stays cool at anime. So he sent a text to his friend, I guess, and in the text he said that these conventions are full of posers and
Boots.
basically posers and nerds, and that these
No
conventions are
way.
prime. These conventions are prime for a high school shooting done by a high schooler. So hopefully that's not the case, because this isn't, the community. We don't want that shit. So
No.
we try
So-
to press acceptance and having a good time at conventions, not shooting things up. And
So if I go to San Diego Comic Con, I get shot. When do you three get my books?
I'll get him.
you're not gonna get
I don't
shot
know.
at San Diego Comic Con.
He might have a stroke.
I have a stroke.
You might have a stroke from heat. That's definitely true.
I thought that was
Surprised I didn't get
happening
one today.
today, man. 116. Thought I was gonna
Yeah,
melt.
Shit, man. That
Oh
was
god, it
bad.
was terrible.
It was 118 in my car in Buckeye. Ugh.
I was outside all day and it sucked.
So you think I'm gonna be
Ugh.
kicking myself for not buying that Nightwing cover?
No.
No, well, it depends on how much you care about, selling books online.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna level back out, and I bet you in a
gonna
few
be-
weeks you're gonna either in a few weeks it's gonna be, I hate to say it like this, but it's either gonna be an expensive book or a cheap book. But I think it's gonna level back out and
Gonna
it'll
hit that Death of Donatello, and where it's gonna pop and then go down.
Well, I think the Death of Donatello popped because the storyline wasn't proven. I think this book is only based on the cover.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the cover's never going to go away.
Right. It is a cool cover, but
I mean, here's one for you. Look at Catwoman 51. That's purely based on the cover. That's a $250 book raw. Purely based on cover. That book will never not be worth something.
well, that's
So,
how people
I mean-
call the Joker's Daughter book. That's gonna be fucking outrageous too, and it's a horseshit.
Yeah.
No, it is.
So
Yeah.
I think that's what everyone's going crazy about Teen Titans too. I don't think it's our first appearance, but the newest member of Teen Titans is Thanos' daughter, or not Thanos'
No, yeah. Lobo.
Lobo's daughter.
And I think that book where she, quote unquote, had the cameo appearance was way better than anything that came out that week, and it had nothing to do with her appearance. Did you read that, Kyle?
no. I don't-
And it was really good. It was one of those, it was almost like one of those annual type books where you kind of have stories that you don't hear very often, and it was kind of setting up the whole the new Teen Titans group.
Are you talking about the Teen Titans annual that came out?
Yeah, the special.
I haven't got to it yet. It's on my stack.
Dude, it is really good. And that was the one where you could see they're really doing a good job with the characters that they're picking for that book and for that team.
Have you seen the cover for #1?
No, which one?
The Chang cover looks shitty.
Yeah, well, it looks like a fucking hip hop video where like they're all in front of a cat, or they're in a caddy, and Kid Flash is driving it, and Damien's in front of it, like doing like the hip hop fucking kneel down,
It looks like shit. I don't like it.
and like Lobo's
Damien
daughter's
looks
ripping the
funky.
roof off of it. It does, but
I'm hoping that the variant cover looks better. The B cover.
But yeah, that was pretty much my big gripe was with just the situation with Dan Slott, and you kind of brought up the Walking Dead stuff, and again, just pisses me off. All right, so let's move on here so we can end this show, so Jose can go fucking see Ant-Man
Well, Jose could leave if you need to. I mean,
chomping
No.
at the bit.
I'm good.
Let's do a little bit of
he's clicking at the bit.
yeah, he's clicking at the bit. Let's do a little bit of what would Kyle do?
Oh crap!
You get some theme music for
Oh,
this. Where was it here? Okay. And you guys can chime in on this too. So this was sent in to us by a listener. It says, "What would Kyle do? Kyle's a fresh transplant to Gotham City with a shiny new Glock. Soon after he sees the Joker finishing up another brutal murder, does he let the Joker go, knowing he will probably be next on the evil clown's murder list, or does he bust a clip in his ass, putting Batman on his tail, probably getting several beat-ups and dying a short time later in prison? I guess the possibility that Joker doesn't target Kyle or the Batman won't catch him, but come on.
Kyle would kill him because
So
he would be the one
what
who.
would you do, Kyle? Kill the Joker and putting Batman on your tail, or not kill the Joker and presumably having the Joker come after you?
I think it would be better to burn out than fade away. So I'd rather go out in a blaze of glory.
Yep.
That's
So
what I
you'd
would
rather
do.
take out the Joker and then have Batman just beat your ass.
So I think what would happen is I would fail miserably because I don't do anything right. And that's how I end up dying by the hands of the Joker instead of Batman. Because I'll fail. It won't even pan out for me. I'll
Or
fuck
you
it all
fail
up.
miserably and the gun jams and backfires and you fucking shoot yourself.
It just blows up in my hand and I lose my right hand. God damn it.
And then you become the new villain.
I become Left Hand Kyle.
To left-hand Kyle.
That's what I would do, though. I would rather, if I had to be written into a story, it would be. I would never be a character to spec on, so I'd rather burn out than fade away and just go out in a blaze of glory.
We're gonna have
You'd
to
be
do
bug
that.
number 3.
We're gonna have to write the adventures of Left Hand Kyle.
What would you guys do? What
That
do you
needs
think
to
should
be a
happen?
Fresh take.
I
I'd
gotta
probably take my shot.
try to end the Joker.
Well, you know
Yep.
Batman's not gonna kill you, so
Yeah.
But you know,
He might just beat the piss out of you.
right? But you get that fame of being the guy who killed the Joker. So
Yeah, you'd be well known.
something's got to come with that. Some sort of protection's got to
Batman
come with
can
that.
do it.
So
They have to kill him.
yeah, nobody's been able to kill the Joker. He's been unstoppable. So.
Maybe then I can become part of the detective crew.
But then in the lore of the Joker, someone else will just take up his mantle and they'll just continue on. So
It'd be cool if like you came in and that's what you were doing is you were single-handedly just taking everyone out. So then you hit the Joker, then you hit the Riddler, then you know what I mean? You just start taking everyone. That would be kind of a cool storyline.
you become
Like
a vigilante with your little Glock.
With your
my
one block.
Glock and my stub. My
Yeah.
stubbing. So you
What
see
would
me
you do, Brian?
Oh man, take a picture with him. Ask for a selfie.
A selfie.
I don't know, man. I think he's the best character in comics. I might freak out and have a fanboy moment. I'm about to have a fan.
Mr. Joker, sir. Here's this shiny new gun I just bought.
your knees
Hand
start
over to
shaking
him.
and you start stuttering and sweating.
I'm about to have a fanboy moment right now. I just got had something retweeted by Greg Capullo.
Ooh.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, man. I'm about to freak out. Literally just happened, dude. Like last 2 minutes ago.
What'd you say to him?
He put out
I loved your barbecue set.
he bought a house in Sedona, so I don't know if he's in the valley still right now, but he made a post showing he was buying a Scorp light, the little flashlights, the black and white Scorp lights, and scorpions are the bane of my existence here in my house because I take my dog for a nightly walk and they're fucking everywhere. So I posted a picture just saying exactly that. And because I have a big, huge Scorp light that I take out with me, and I have to keep her away from him because she likes to eat them for some fucking idiotic reason. So I posted a picture of the Scorps, and he retweeted it. Let's see what he said here. Kind of funny. I don't mean to break into Kyle's gig, but
No, you're good.
He said, "Gonna be scorpion proofing my new digs with weather stripping cock." And chems, no kill policy can only go so far. So
Hey, Batman.
there we go. And that's why it's fun. You know, you look at the difference between Greg Capullo and Dan Slott, and here's Greg Capullo talking about killing scorpions, and Dan Slott's crying about people spoiling comics.
Well, dude, like you live especially where he lives in Sedona in the desert, you're gonna get scorpions.
Yeah.
I freaking love it that he went and bought a house in the desert. How metal is Greg Capullo?
Right.
Especially Sedona.
He's a sucker. Welcome to the heat, fucker.
He wants to get away, man.
Yes, he does. He's smart.
But that means that
He's gonna start selling crystals in a little
shop
shop down Sedona.
So maybe he'll be doing more conventions here now since he fucking lives here.
Right? That'd be cool. Like just little conventions. Shit, we don't have any of those.
If I was him, I would fucking snowbird it, man. Live back where you in New York or wherever you were before the summer, and then, or during the summer, and then come back here in the winter.
Yeah.
Snowbird that shit.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
who wants to live here in 115? We're just crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
Every summer, man, every year, my depression gets worse and worse as soon as the heat starts going up, and I'm just thinking to myself every year, ways to get out of this place.
I think Bobby Hill said it best when he came to Arizona.
Yeah. Like, people text me all the time. My buddies back east are like, "Oh, 115, man, it must be sweating your balls out." I was like, "Actually, no, I'm in a comfortable, cool 75 degrees inside." "Oh, you don't go outside?" "Fuck no, I don't go outside in the summer. What are you, nuts?"
Who the fuck goes outside?
You
I
can't
do.
even take your dogs for a walk because you have to buy booties for them and shit.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the truth. If it gets to like 90 or 95 degrees, the blacktop's like 150. So imagine what it is at 110.
I got a plain grass in my backyard. My dog loves to be outside. And he's running around. He's running around the backyard, and now like he goes out, does his business, come in. Today he took a piss on the dirt, and it was like, and you can see the fucking steam coming off of it. And he was like, nope, and he comes right back in and lays under the fucking air conditioner.
Yeah, it's nice that you got 75 degrees all the time.
I know.
Hey, as soon as it hit 113, like I was saying to you guys before, I just went home. I saw it was 113. I just packed my shit up and I left work. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I'm going home.
I'm going home.
Fuck
Just
you
too
guys,
hot.
I'm going home.
Yeah, like before I clocked out, I went outside and turned on my car for like 10, 15 minutes so it get cool. It got way too fucking hot today.
But I'm telling you, I do have a nice tan right now.
Nice.
Hey, did you cut your hair?
No.
All right.
All
I
right.
was going to give you shit.
One more.
Why'd you think that?
Sorry. You made a post saying it's getting close. I'm going to have to do it. And somebody said like, don't do it, dude.
No, I didn't do it.
And we have one more. What would Kyle do? What would Kyle do if he was standing in the ocean with his wife and someone yelled shark?
I would push her in the water and run.
Is that what you did?
So this is what happened. I don't know. I don't know if she's listening to the show right now. She wanted to come in to make sure I was telling the story right. So what happened was, yeah, we got married. So we've been married for 15 years. So we got married that our anniversary for our honeymoon. We went to San Diego, and so it was a rough trip getting there. Like it was a really rough trip. They were having like a marathon on the freeway. So like the freeways were shut down, so we couldn't get there. It was just frustrating. We were up all night. Like, we were going to have a dry wedding, and like kegs showed up and we got drunk, and I thought I broke my hand in a fight, and all kinds I was trying to throw my pregnant wife in the pool. All kinds of stuff was going on. So we finally get there, and we're walking, and I don't get in the ocean. Like being in the ocean, I don't like it. I don't like really being on the beach. I'd rather sit on the, in the hotel room and look at the ocean and drink. But we finally get there, and so we get out, we stretch our legs, and we're like, this is what we need to do. Let's just take a walk and calm down and forget, the shitty trip we just had getting here. So we're walking, and like, when you're walking on the beach and it's like, it's just coming up just enough to like touch your toes and just barely get your feet wet. So we're walking and talking, and she's on my right as we're walking. So she's more in the water. And I guess she was talking and I wasn't paying attention. And all I heard was blah, 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 shark. So I went, oh shit. And I like pushed her out of the way and like towards the water, and I run away. And she was like, what the fuck was that? I said, you said shark. So she's like, you're going to throw me in the fucking water? And I was like, I guess. I guess my natural instincts to survive kicked in. And I guess it was at any cost, I guess, which, it's been 15 years and I still hear about it pretty decently regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's happening. So if you're walking next to me and we're and and I hear the word shark, I'm just gonna let you know that
pushing you down.
it's fight or flight, and I'm fighting you into the shark.
He's gonna take you, not me.
So I had to survive with the bloodline, I guess. I don't know. Even though she was 5 months pregnant with our son.
You pushed her down at 5 months pregnant?
I didn't push her down. I kind of just like pushed her out of the way, even though she was on my right, and I ran left. I still pushed her towards the ocean. She didn't fall or anything, but she I nudged her into the ocean more and like ran away, and she had no idea why. So, forewarn, if you're ever with me at the ocean, that's what's gonna happen.
I've never heard that story before. I don't think you've ever told that story.
Nope.
I've never told you that story.
Nope.
I've told you that story, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I've told it. Yeah, that's
I just think it's funny that you had to tell it on the podcast. She sent a thing in to make you tell it.
No, actually, my buddy Justin had actually said, well, "Why don't you tell about what happens if you hear the word shark?" And so that's what brought that up.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, so that's just to let you know. That's what happens. Don't walk with me next to the ocean. But I swear to God, I heard blah, 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 shark. Fuck this, I'm out of here. Because there are sharks in the ocean and they'll fucking eat you. End of story. They don't give a fuck. I've seen Jaws. Those motherfuckers will eat you.
Jaws.
They're big.
That's pretty funny.
Just like one time, she's like, "You don't see jellyfish here," because that's another reason why I don't like to go. Sharks, jellyfish, and fucking. We were walking, and like 30 more feet, there's a motherfucking jellyfish. See, there's one right there. But that's it.
Good old jellyfish.
That's what happens.
You should have let him get stung, and then you could have like pissed on her.
So is Jose the only one going to San Diego?
He is.
Yep.
I didn't even try to get tickets.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I saw that people were selling tickets on Craigslist for like $400 for the weekend pass.
That's $200 profit. So
Yeah. It's doable. It's just, what's the San Diego's cool, and it's an experience, and it's something that if you're into going to conventions and you have a lot of fun, then you should do it once. But it's so crowded, and it's so hard to get your mission accomplished. Like, it's possible you can do everything you want to do there, but I find it a lot better at like Phoenix Fan Fest and like Phoenix Comic Fest and stuff, where like, the writer Joshua Williamson of Flash, like really nobody was going up to him. Like, I got to sit there, even though he wasn't paying attention to me, but I got to sit there and tell him how much I enjoyed his writing and how glad I am that he's writing it. And he's the reason that I'm a huge Flash fan now, even though he didn't pay attention and he yahed me, but I couldn't have done that at San Diego. You know what I mean? Because it's all right. Keep going on. There's 180,000 people in line, and you know what I mean. It's nuts to butts, and it's really, you really have to plan accordingly. But at San Diego, but I mean, don't get me wrong. We went 2 years in a row, and it was awesome.
Yeah, San Diego has kind of ruined conventions for me though, because like you're never gonna I think the only thing that can compare to the hype and craziness of San Diego would be like New York, because Phoenix just doesn't do it justice. And after you go to
they're just saying that because they're not going this year.
No,
I mean,
I'm saying it. I'm saying I loved San Diego. Like it's ruined other conventions for me because San Diego is an experience. It's so hype, dude. Like being there, it's the hype of it all, and it's a blast. But I've done it 2 years in a row. I did it 2 years in a row, and now I'm kind of like I don't care if I don't go. And especially with the changes they've made to the autograph stuff, like I don't really care.
What's the changes they made to the autograph stuff?
So all of your
It's a raffle now.
Yeah, it's a raffle, and you gotta put in for it ahead of time.
Like Hall H.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's shit.
Yeah.
So it's not mad dash at the beginning of the convention to get
First
your
come,
wristband.
first serve.
Right. It's you gotta win a raffle.
It's made me appreciate these cons here more because, like I said, you can actually talk to people. You can actually, at San Diego, it's so hard to do anything. Like you know, like we got to talk to like Robert Kirkman and stuff, but still it was quick and you could, you know what I mean? Like it was just one after the other. You got your little thing in, but at these cons here, you can actually sit and talk to these people. Like, you know, like even at what's it called in Anaheim, WonderCon, it's almost like San Diego, but you have a little bit more time to talk to people. And that's the point of going to these conventions is you get to interact with your favorite artists and writers and actors. And you get San Diego, you don't really get to do that.
And that's one thing I'll say in defense of Brian Michael Bendis. That is the coolest motherfucker I've ever met live. He respects his fans. He loves his fans. When we were standing in line at WonderCon waiting for him, he was like, "Don't worry." He was like, he had a long line. He's like, "Don't fucking come to me. I'm coming to you." And he came to the line and just like, "Get your stuff out," and was just signing down the line. Like he wasn't letting people come to him. He was signing. He went down the line signing shit. And even he busted the balls of the dude in front of us who had a thick stack. And he was like, "Will you sign this for me?" He's like, "Yeah. What do you want me to make it out to eBay?" Like he busted his balls in line, and he's just the coolest dude. Like he loves his fans. He's respectable. He's like, "I'm not gonna sit here and let you come to me. I'm coming to you." And he came down the line signing, and it was a fantastic experience. And
I, you know, you get an essence of that experience in San Diego, but you don't get that experience because it's next,
Right.
next, and that's kind of where I think where San Diego has lost.
Yeah, that part I enjoy the smaller con, but like the hype of it all, man, like the hype of the weekend, like San Diego, you need like Jose goes. You basically go for sketches. You don't really get autographs at San Diego, right, Jose? You pretty much go for sketches. So you're an artist alley doing your thing. Yeah, and with me and Kyle who go for the autographs, like it's a lot of standing in line, but you have to strategically plan your weekend, and you need all those days.
And like Kirkman, the only reason we got his autograph is because even though they told us to leave, and we just kept standing in line.
Yeah, and Kirk, because he had a capped line, and we just kept standing there, and he was like, "Come on, just come get your shit signed." Did you ever hear the story about how Kirkman fucking busted my balls?
No.
It was
I was standing
me
outside,
and
dude.
Kirkman together as a team, as good friends, got to make fun of Matt.
I was standing outside waiting to pitch a show to Adult Swim. So it was the muggiest day in San Diego. It was hot. I was drenched in sweat. I was fucking one of those stinky con kids, and I was like, you know, this sucks. But I wanted his autograph. I needed his autograph to finish off a book. And Kyle and I went and waited, and he was like, "Do you want a picture with me?" And I was like, no. I said no. And I was like, only because I was sweaty and stinky and I didn't want to fucking do that. Like, and he just started busting my balls about it. He's like, "Oh, you want to sign my book, but you don't want to get a picture with me, huh?"
And I more than happily joined in.
And Kyle joined in with him, and he's like calling me an asshole and stuff like that. And like, he just started busting my balls.
That was great. That was great.
He's like, "Oh, gonna come up here and get me to sign your book, but you won't take a picture with me, huh? I see how it is. You just want that signature, huh?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm being respectful and don't want to be like, oh, well."
And I was going, "Yeah, that's fucked up. You're fucked up, dude." Kirkman, you believe that he's doing that to you?
Yeah. So you have those experiences, but I've never had quite the same experiences at a local con that I've had at San Diego.
The one thing I like about San Diego is running into like celebrities or our celebrities. Like I ran into Joe Quesada just randomly at a booth, and we're looking at the same thing, and I looked up at him, I was like, "Wait, you're Joe Quesada?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he shook my hand. I took a picture with him, but like just randomly just running into somebody like that, it's just crazy.
Guy. Well, like the first year Kellen went with us. Kyle and I are standing in line for autographs, and all Kellen's doing is sending me pictures of all these people he's meeting. Oh, check out, I met this guy outside. Check out, I met a fucking Jim Lee just walking across the street. Like, he's just sending me all these celebrity pictures he's taken, and I'm like, dude, I have not seen any of these people other than on the show floor.
Do you know how many? But like, even at Phoenix Comic Fest, this one that just passed, do you know how many times they've seen Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson,
Snyder,
Tinian?
who the fuck is that?
Right? Dad just pushes him out of the way to fucking escape.
That's one of the greatest stories of all time.
But you know what I mean? You know how many times I've seen them just walking around? Like, probably 7 or 8 times. They were just walking, "Hey, man, how's it going?"
Yeah,
but I mean, it happens there too.
Who's that guy?
Get out of my way! There's fire alarms going on.
Or like
God's Snyder, who the fuck is that?
you're in the middle of the show floor. I think that's still one of the craziest things to me. It pissed me off at the time, but looking back on it, like just standing there in the middle of the floor and someone screams, "It's Norman Reedus," and you see the wall, you look over and there he is, and then all of a sudden you're in just like a swarm of people. Like you can't move. It's insane.
Remember my shirt turned brown.
Yeah, it's insane. Like there's no experience quite like San Diego. I think if you've never been, you got to at least go once just to experience how crazy.
Try your hardest to go, but it's just it's expensive and it's overwhelming and it's
very expensive.
This will be my 6th year going.
Yeah, but
I did that.
Help you.
I did that early in the 2000s. My last year I went was 2006, and that was the year I feel very confident in saying was the last year before Hollywood really took it over.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I haven't been back, just because from hearing stories of you guys going, and I hate being at cons in Phoenix where it's too crowded and you can't go look at comics, and it's become about movies and movie stars and fucking bullshit, and I want to go about the comics.
That's a great thing about going to just to see comics. There's nobody there. They're at the the movie panels and the movie like all the movie places, but all the little Comic-Con or little comics, there's like nobody there. It's awesome.
Well, like we saw the guy who plays Foggy Nelson sitting at Hard Rock Cafe outside with a buddy drinking a beer. And
pissed him off.
Yeah, and I pissed him off.
Darkwing Duck or
Death Glare, because Ducks. I was like, hey, it's Fulton from Mighty Ducks. He shot me with the fucking Death Glare.
You Mighty Duck fucks.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's crazy. There's the people you run into on the streets.
All right, I gotta go. The movie's gonna start in 19 minutes.
Later, Jose.
All right, see you guys later.
Later, Jose.
Bye, Jose.
It's awesome having you on, Bryan.
That's a good place
where
we can end it. So, for this week, want to thank everyone that came to hang out tonight, watching us live on YouTube. I want to thank Bryan again for joining us, and hopefully you can have him on.
I enjoy it.
Thank you, Bryan.
More times, but for the Absolute Geek Podcast, I'm Matt,
and everybody cares about comics at Comic-Con,
right?
I'm just kidding. Nobody does. You're right.
I'm Matt.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Jose.
I'm Bryan.
And we will see you next time.